It was fall of my sophomore year in high school, and my mentor for confirmation, her name was Linda Risto, wanted me to come out of my comfortable place in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, and come and do some service work with her in Milwaukee in the inner city. Linda, at that time, was in her 20s. I would endearingly describe her as a hipster. I really looked up to her, and I still do. She is a free spirit with a huge heart for serving others. Linda had left Sheboygan to live in Milwaukee to pursue a career in social work. At that time, she lived in this upper flat with 2 roommates in the inner city of Milwaukee. She did a lot of work for the Casa Maria houses. She helped with food pantries and helped at soup kitchens. She wanted me to come so I could learn about what it meant to serve others. I was young, as a sophomore in high school, and I was very apprehensive to go. But she kept encouraging me and trying to push me to be challenged and to see and learn about the community that she lived in. The memory of that weekend is so vivid in my mind. I'd like to say that it was a fabulous weekend, but truth be told, I was very uncomfortable the whole weekend. It was the first time that I had been put face to face with poverty, and it scared me. On Friday night, we served food at a soup kitchen where people smelled of alcohol and body odor. Some didn't have teeth, and some noses were running and they're wiping their noses on their sleeves. And others told crazy, uncomfortable stories. I was so out of my comfort zone. The next day we brought food and clothing to 2 of the casa houses. I still was uncomfortable. Children climbed on me and combed my hair and wanted to put oil in my hair and braid it, and I just wanted to go home. I don't know if Linda knew how uncomfortable I was with the places she was taking me. It made me feel guilty and ashamed. After all, we're called to do this work. We're called to be with the poor, to care for the homeless, to be with the widows and the children and those who are struggling. But I wanted to go home. But I did take a deep breath and decided to stay and work through my uncomfort. We ended the weekend with going to church, and at the end of the service we went down in the basement of the church and did another soup kitchen to help those in need. That weekend, that experience gave me a chance to stay in my discomfort and let it challenge me to courage instead of guilt and shame. It gave me an opportunity to connect and to care. I, of course, had a lot to learn and still do, but it was a start. Being pushed to see the world from a different perspective isn't a negative thing. God is with us in the midst of change, in the midst of changing our hearts and our lives. Jesus' parable today pushes us to see from a different perspective. In this story, the rich man is not so much mean or cruel to Lazarus, who lies by the rich man's gate, as he is oblivious. He doesn't notice him. Lazarus does not so much as even exist within the rich man's world. The rich man creates a chiasm, a divide between him and Lazarus, and so do we do that. It's easy for us to align ourselves with people we're comfortable with, or who live in the same neighborhoods, or who are family or friends. Many of us, like the rich man in this parable, have never had to experience the pain and hardship of being on the outside where no one is giving you anything. But some of us have. There are millions like Lazarus, daily, suffering intense need. In the last year, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but I've noticed in our parking lots, in Target and Kohl's and Fresh Time and along 14, more and more people that are carrying signs and asking for money and that are in need. It makes me wonder if I should be stopping to give each person I see money or something. Makes me feel guilty passing them by. It also makes me wonder what's going on in our system and structure, that we see more and more people holding signs up that are in need of something. Jesus did help many people in need, lepers and widows and children and homeless. But he wasn't able to help everyone. And that's why he challenged and pushed the bigger structure and systems that would impact more people. Today we walk in crop walk. That many of us will walk in neighborhoods and remind our neighborhoods in this community that we still have people who are hungry. We have people in our community that are hungry and people in our world that are hungry. We come together in this space because we don't have all the answers. And we come together to say, how can we work together to help those in need? We come together to find courage and strength to be open to and face uncomfortable situations that divide us. My prayer for you today is that you are willing to stay in the discomfort. Let it challenge you to courage instead of guilt and shame, so that you don't miss an opportunity to connect and care. I hope you know that even when we don't see the Lazaruses of our community, Christ will always see them and love them. And I hope you know that when you miss the Lazaruses, God will give you second chances, but God also will love you no matter what. Amen.